Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here in Erlengrat. So we'll be able to kill two birds with one stone with that one, so let's back onto there. I've got soybeans in here apparently at the moment. It's not actually soybeans, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that one back like that, and I'm going to see if it will load it easily or if it's... Okay, I take it all back. It's the potato planter that's causing the problem. Right, well, in which case, what we will do then is we will... Actually, I'm going to need to open that one. I'll lower that one down, and then if I pop out that bag over there like that, and then I'll close that one over, and I'll leave it there. We'll just come back beside the... the pallet of potatoes that we've got there, and we'll use that instead. So we got 500 litres of potatoes right here. This one is a really, really easy potato planter to get going. We don't need to do anything other than just lower it and go. That's all it requires. So I'm going to lower and go. I'm going to do it at that angle as well. It's going to go along here. Just starting off. And I'm doing it at this angle because I want to kind of mark out a little bit on the edge of the field right here. And then he should lift, turn it round. There we go. In your own time. Yeah, you go away. No one's interested in what you got to say, mate. I probably don't need to do any markings along the edge. I just kind of, like, feel that I should do a little bit extra. Just to help it out a bit. I'm not even sure that it would help it out. Oh, that's fantastic. Really doesn't like that, does it? That's really struggling with that. I'm thinking that we won't do that here, and I'm just gonna hope that it'll do all right. We'll start at the top, and we will plant our way down across the field. I'm just gonna hope that we've got enough here in place to be able to go and do it. I know that we got these trees here. They could end up causing us a bit of a problem. We might want to go and remove a few of those at some point, but I'm not going to do that right now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start there. He's going to lower into the field just there, and hopefully he's not going to be swinging around like he was down over there. He's struggling a bit with it. This tractor really isn't the most suitable tractor for quite a few of the tasks, is it? Well, we'll be working with this tractor just for a little bit, and then we will see. So I'm just going to leave that one go for a second, and I am going to just... Actually, I don't even need to grab the train now that I've switched over to it. I can actually shut it off. We'll let it just cruise to a halt over here somewhere. And then we need to get back to harvesting our potatoes. We've kind of gotten distracted. I know it does seem a bit odd that I would get distracted with anything. Start engine if you want to press the brakes, apparently. Yeah, now I've got to block the traffic over here. Alright, let's take it on a little bit further, and we'll park this one up in between these two. We've done that before. And I need to go just far enough that it lifts the barrier at the other end. Which it will do in a minute. I can still see a red flashing light up there. See that car? He stopped way, way back in the distance. Go on, a bit more. There we go. Right, stop there, and that one's not going anywhere either, so I can just leave it like that. This one does actually seem to be planting. We did have a little bit of a problem with this one over on that hill over there. Because of the steepness of the hill, it did leave a few stripes here and there. And it could very well end up doing the same again. If it does, it does. There's not a lot that we can do about that. We'll just kind of work with it. And each time we need to reload, we'll just pop down to the bottom and we'll reload down there. We'll, and then we don't have to worry too much about it. So that one's doing fine. I'm quite happy with that. Now, we can go and get some more potatoes picked up. We've done all of that. What is the price gone up to? We've also got full fertilizer on this field. Because of the ploughing and stuff we've done, this first time round, we will have a full fertilizer round. It won't stay like that, though. The potato price has climbed to 203 right there. However, the sunflowers are starting to come down. So before I go and grab those tatipos right there, I am actually going to go back to the train, and I'm just going to load the sunflowers in here, and we'll send them off. It's only 11,000, I know, it's not very many, but we'll send them off, and we will get them sold. Nice and quickly. So we'll just jump into here, and sunflowers, 11,156. Drop that lot into there. And off we go. Because the price, obviously, the price is starting to come down. It's not going to have been worth keeping anything back. And this is all we've got on the map for sunflowers at the moment. Admittedly, the Alps are not really very well known for growing sunflowers, but apparently they are able to do so in this particular little valley because of a very strange weather anomaly. It's unusually warm down in this valley. The way that the weather moves around the mountain peaks, this particular valley has a much higher than average number of hours of sunshine. And that may seem a bit like science fiction, but believe it or not, that is actually something that does happen in various different places in the world. There are specific valleys. Do I want to sell? Yes, I do. Let's give us 9,200. There are actually specific valleys and areas in different places in the world have a completely unique weather pattern compared to the surrounding area, and it is purely down to the way mountains and so on are around them, and it's surprising how much of a difference it can make. There are some types of food, as some places make cheese, some places make wine, and so on and so forth. So there's various different food types and things like that that can only be made in certain regions, and it's not due to knowledge, know-how, or plants. It is because of the weather that is unique to that particular area. It's got some characteristics of the weather in the surrounding larger region, but there's also a microclimate there that is unique to that particular area, and that gives it something extra. So this does happen in a few places, like in France, other places in Europe that grow wine, because they've got, just by chance, just enough hours of sunshine in a year to grow grapes quite well. So they get a nice sweet grape. But they've also got other conditions where for a chunk of the year the weather is a lot cooler, like it is generally in that region for the rest of the year. And combining these two allows them to make a more unique product. Cheese is one that is quite common for having a microclimate in the area that it is produced. A lot of cheeses are produced in bigger general areas, so it's not just down to a microclimate, it's down to the climate in that particular part of the world in general. Microclimate would be somewhere like this, you know, maybe 10 to 20 square miles, and the weather there is quite a bit different to just about anywhere else. Getting much bigger than a 10 to 20 square mile area, and I don't think it's like, I don't know the exact terminology and details on what would be classed as a microclimate or not, but that's the general idea, is that the weather is slightly different in that area compared to the average of the overall region, and that uniqueness for weather conditions is enough to be able to produce something that can't be made anywhere else. So cheese is quite a common one, because cheese is very susceptible to bacteria that are used to make cheese and ferment it and so on. They're very, very much influenced by climate, and so if you've got a slightly different climate in your area, it's going to make a significant difference to how things are done. Now, people have said that I should be using potatoes to do this for the future. I'm going to use the seed that we've got at the moment, and we'll see about using potatoes later on. And you can see already we're getting stripes, and this is why I wanted a bigger planter, but this tractor has got no hope of pulling a bigger planter. The other tractor is busy, and I don't really want to be taking it out of commission to be able to go and run this one. So I'll bring this one over here, like that, load it up from there, which is nice. It's a much quicker way of doing it, isn't it? We'll just do it like that in future. So, yeah, maybe with our next planting, we'll be able to afford a bigger planter. And there is also the possibility that we could go and put some sugar beet in the field over there. So that's the other root crop that we've got access to. One thing that I think is a bit of a shame is that this game doesn't have carrots in the base game. If the base game had carrots, we could go and plant some carrots. We could do that. That would be quite cool. Now, are you going to allow me? Yes, you are. It is going to allow me to go and plant in this little strip up through here. It's going to pick up. It's going to drop down again. But that's just going to move it up the hill ever so slightly so that it does fill in that little tiny gap that turned up there. And I'll let that carry on. Now we want to go to this one. So I've got another 27,000 litres of Tatipos that we want to take out of here. So come on round, same as we did last time. Bring it on through. I could go and use these trailers to move the silage at the BGA, or this time, now that we've got a front loader and a bucket and everything, we could just use the front loader and the bucket to transfer some of the silage at the BGA. To be honest, I'm not sure what I want to do. The bucket option doesn't appeal to... yeah, I missed it. I should have gone... You know, we'll just go round. The bucket option doesn't really appeal to me all that much. I thought I was going to the dealership. Because, you know, I don't want to be doing excessive amounts of loader work. And I never like doing excessive amounts of loader work. I mean, maybe we could have a look at doing that a little bit. Just as a treat. Because you've all been so good, we'll do it as a treat. Special treat for all of you. But only if you continue to be on your bestest behaviour. Okay? That's the deal. Right, I'll bring you up here. I need to, first of all, change over to that one so I can tip these Tatipos out. Like that. And then I want to come over here. And I want to tip these two lots out. So I want one there and one there. Like that. Actually, I have that one selected. So there we go, we've got another round of potatoes here. So we've got over 50,000 litres of potatoes will have gone into the store now at 204 so far and counting. 50, what are we bringing over? It's 27, wasn't it? So it'll be 54,000 something. 54,190 litres. We have easily got another double trailer load in that field. I reckon we've probably got 2 more double trailer loads. We could be looking at in excess of 100,000 litres of potatoes at 200 plus per 1,000 litres. We're looking at a minimum of 20,000 euros for the potatoes on this field. Now, in the grand scheme of things, 20,000 euros is not really a huge amount of money. But 20,000 euros for us on this tiny little field is actually a fairly significant chunk of change. That's not too shabby at all, actually. That's not to be sniffed at. So let's just bring you over there like that. We'll unhitch that one, and then we can carry on with what we were doing. Potatoes are being planted over the other side. I want to have my loader selected like this. Put that one onto the ground. And then we've got our team of people running along in front of the loader, putting potatoes in the bucket. It's not an exciting job. I haven't done it with a tractor and bucket, but I have done it with a wheelbarrow. I have gone along a field of potatoes. It has all been loosened up and slung them all into the wheelbarrow. I have spent several hours doing that. When I say hours, I mean days. And then when the wheelbarrow is full, you wheel it off down to the yard and you tip them out in a heap. And you do try to sort the potatoes a bit as you're going along, but you don't sort, like, mostly you're just making sure that you're picking up the potatoes, and if you've got bad potatoes, they kind of just need to all go in there. You want to get everything out of the field. This is when I was a teenager, we lived on a small holding, so we would just pick up everything. Anything that damaged potatoes, anything, it didn't matter. We wouldn't leave it behind in the field. We'd pick it all up. And then we'd tip it out, and any damaged potatoes, we did have buckets that we would carry around, by the way, so mostly you didn't have to do much once you got them back, right? We had buckets, and if you had damaged potato or anything like that, it went in the bucket. And then the stuff in the bucket, that was just kind of balanced on top of the wheelbarrow, and then you wheeled it over to the yard where we were tipping them all out, and we tipped out our pile of potatoes. And then from there, we put them into some paper bags to keep them. And all the damaged stuff, any damaged, spoiled potatoes like that, they were put in a separate bag, and then they were used for pig food. And that's what the pigs ate. Although it didn't last them very long, because there wasn't all that many. So once you'd gone over the fields, the little bit of it was, we would do like a half an acre to an acre in a year. And once you'd gone over it, and you'd picked out all the potatoes, you'd dig them all out, and you'd cut them all off. If you were absolutely certain, I had to, like, me and my brother, we would have to put the potatoes in a wheelbarrow and then bring them back and then go through them a little bit carefully, and because basically we weren't trusted to just put them straight into bags and get it right. There was always, because if you do put a rotten potato in the bag and right at the beginning of autumn, you're gonna end up with quite a few potatoes that might spoil by the time you get to that particular bag. So it was better all round to check them again. So they did get handled twice. It's not brilliant handling twice, but sometimes it's the better option. So we would, they would all be done like that, and then the potato field that was left over, the pig would then be, pig or pigs, depending if we had any small ones that we were fattening up at the time, they would then be turned into the potato field to just go and check it over. And almost every time, well, I say almost, definitely every time, the pig would go into the field. We had carefully gone over it, we had dug over that field, and we had picked out every single potato that was in there. Then the pig would go along and pick up the rest of the potatoes, and would absolutely gorge itself on the potatoes that we'd missed. We had, as you probably remember, I did say we'd gone over that field very carefully, and we'd picked up every single potato that was there. There were no potatoes left. And then the pig would go in and would gorge itself on potatoes that we'd missed, and until it could literally eat nothing else, and its belly had swollen. It would truly, genuinely eat like a pig, and then it would just lie there in the field for the rest of the day, just sort of grunting, half in pain and half happy because it had gorged itself completely, unable to move. And you know a pig really is full when there's more food. There would have been more potatoes still hidden somewhere in the soil. You know a pig really has gorged itself when it just gives up on the whole eating thing and instead just chooses to lie there and do nothing else whatsoever until it digested the meal. It took a long time. So yeah, you sort of think, oh, I've done a really good job this time. And the pig comes along. It really shows you up. It really does. Nothing would do that like a pig going into a field of potatoes that you have gone and cleared. Right? I guarantee you. If you think you've done an amazing job, get a pig to go and check afterwards. That puts you in your place, that does. If you think that man is better than beast, go and clean your field of potatoes and then let the pig have a go afterwards. The pig will put you in your place. It will tell you with absolutely no qualms whatsoever, nope, you didn't even come close to finishing this field, Sonny Jim. Never mind, I've got this in hand. And then off it goes. They are good at doing that. Right. You continue on with the planting. This field is going to take longer to harvest. I'm hoping that we can harvest this next field with a proper potato harvester rather than doing this method. Because although this method does work, we are seeing this method work firsthand. It's still time consuming, and I would like to do the next harvest a little bit quicker than this. Though I must be honest, I'm actually quite enjoying this. I thought that if I was going to have to do it like this, I would really, really despise doing the job. But I'm not. I'm actually quite enjoying this. This is a very, very different way of picking potatoes. But it's working, and it's working really well. I'm quite pleased with this. Let's just pick you up there. We're definitely going to fill these 2 trailers. I don't think that we will end up filling 2 more trailers after this. So we're not quite going to reach 100,000 litres, I don't think. But still, whichever we do, we're going to end up with a decent profit on this. I think we're going to end up with a very decent profit. There's still quite a bit up there. So we can get the next bucket full. And right. So yeah, has anyone else done this for harvesting potatoes? Has anyone else used this in game for harvesting potatoes, or in real life? Actually, has anyone else tried doing something like this in real life? This one for me in real life is absolutely the most tedious way of doing it. It's not as bad as picking stones by hand, which I've also done. I've done all kinds of exciting jobs, haven't I? As part of being a farmer. These days you do tend to have a lot more jobs mechanized, although if you want to have your own little small holding, you generally don't have the ability to mechanize these kinds of jobs because you just don't have the money to go and buy the machines. Like, it's not worth spending that. Unless you're a multi-millionaire, it's just not worth spending the money if you've only got 4 or 5 acres of land. So that's the situation where you would end up doing it by hand. And who knows, maybe that's something that I will end up doing one day. I will have 4 or 5 acres and I will end up doing it, and I can make a video of me going along and picking potatoes by hand. The other thing you've got to take into account is time versus money. Now, we did grow potatoes for a few years, but my parents worked it out, and they reckoned that the amount of time and effort that it took to produce the potatoes and put them into bags, and then you had some bags of potatoes ready for the winter. Yes, it's nice to be able to say I grew my own, but they pointed out that the time and effort that took meant that if you valued if you took the value of the potatoes, what it would cost us to go and buy at £5 a bag, or £6 a bag, whatever it is, or whatever it was. I think it was about £5 a bag used to pay. I don't know what they are now. I don't think they're a huge amount more, to be honest. £5 a bag, and then you take into account the amount of time that it took for planting the potatoes, because they had to be done. We didn't have anything mechanized for planting them, so that was done by hand. Then you had weeding the potatoes, that was done by hand. And then you had harvesting the potatoes, again, it was done by hand, and picking them all up. So you had to first dig them out of the ground, and then you had to put them into bags, and so on. So the amount of hours that it took in order to get these few bags of potatoes, I think we ended up with like 10 bags of potatoes. So you're talking about £50 worth of potatoes. It probably took close to 50 hours to grow them, which means that you're being paid £1 an hour to grow those potatoes. Whereas if you go and have a job somewhere for a little while, you could go and do 5 hours of work at £10 an hour and earn the money to buy 5 bags of the 10 bags of potatoes, and then that leaves you with 45 additional hours that you'd spent doing those potatoes. You'd go and do something else for those 45 hours. And that's what they ultimately decided, was that it just wasn't worth the amount of work involved with growing potatoes by hand. Now, if you want to do it, obviously not everything is down to whether it's worth it. You don't need to do everything in life according to, oh, well, it's this many pennies, and just putting a price on absolutely everything. So you don't have to go through life doing that. You don't have to put a price on every single little aspect of life. But if you want potatoes, and you don't really want to grow them yourself, you're not sort of too fussed about growing them yourself, then it's not worth it. Right? It's not worth the amount of work involved with doing it in order to grow them yourself. It's because of the hours involved and how much it costs to go and buy the potatoes. So you're better off buying the potatoes, using the land that you would have used for the potatoes for something else, and doing something different with your time and money and everything else. Right, that one went and stopped right there because we jumped to it temporarily. So if I go on a little bit further, we can open up the barrier. That should be far enough. There we go. Right. So yeah, growing potatoes, if you really enjoyed it, then yes, it would be worth it. It would absolutely be worth it. If it's something that you would really enjoy doing, then definitely do it. But if it's not something that you particularly fussed about on an enjoyment level, it's really not worth it. You'd be better off if you've got your 4 or 5 acres of land and you want to use it, and you're talking about self-sufficiency, you're probably better off to spend 50 hours of time growing or doing something else with a chunk of the land, and then doing that for a bit of profit, and then in turn going back and using that profit to buy the potatoes. And so it's really up to each individual. So I really would have no idea what I would do. Probably not grow very many potatoes, to be honest. It's not exciting. Unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.